can take you anywhere. Turn the pages and you'll be there. Come on, join us, you'll see. We're reading with Carylee.
Hi, friends, and thank you for joining us for another Read with Carylee, where we have authors from all across the country and all around the world. Now, today we have a special guest who is joining us from, well, I'm going to ask you, Miss Leticia Ordaz, to tell us where you are joining us from today.
Hi, everyone. I'm from Sacramento, California, the Golden State.
Yes, awesome. And Miss Leticia Ordaz is going to be reading The Adventures of Mr. Macaw. And I am very excited to have you especially this weekend, because this is Hispanic Heritage Month. And we are actually wrapping things up coming October 14th. And I am so glad to be able to have you, and especially you are actually our first Latino or Latina to be on Read with Carylee. So it's a joyous occasion to have you for Hispanic Heritage Month and to be our first Latina. So I am going to turn things over to you so that you could dive right into the adventures of Mr. Macaw.
Thank you so much. It's such an honor to be here representing Latinx children, especially during Hispanic Heritage Month, which goes until October 14th. As I was doing a lot of research and writing my book, I found out that only 5% Latinx characters are ever featured in a book in the US. So I think it's so important to bring these books to life and for children to see themselves. And I decided to make this book bilingual, so each page is in English and Spanish, so children can learn some Spanish along the way and be proud of their heritage if they are in fact Latinx. So I will take it away with The Adventures of Mr. Macaw, reading it in both languages. In Spanish is Las Aventuras del Señor Macaw. Maxton and Bronx raced ahead of Mommy and Papi into their summer home. The little house in Mexico always felt like a cozy blanket, even though Abuelito Kiki and Abuelita Anita no longer lived there. Maxton y Bronx corrieron enfrente de Mami y Papi a su casa de verano. La casita en México siempre se había sentido como una cobija calientita, aunque Abuelito Kiki y Abuelita Anita ya no vivían allí. "Where's the purple box?" asked Bronx, the younger of the two brothers. "Here it is," shouted Maxton. The boys ripped off the tape and tossed the lid. "¿Dónde está la caja morada?" preguntó Bronx, el más joven de los dos hermanos. "Aquí está," gritó Maxton. Los chicos arrancaron la cinta y lanzaron la tapa. "Hola, Mr. Macaw," Bronx greeted Abuelito's old kite. Max lifted it above his head. "I bet you're ready to fly with your best friends." "Hola, señor Macaw." Bronx saludó al viejo papalote de Abuelito. Maxton lo levantó sobre su cabeza. "Apuesto que estás listo para volar con tus mejores amigos." "Squawk! Good to see you, niños. Let's go fly. I was worried you boys weren't coming because of the tropical storm." Bronx giggled. "That just makes things more exciting. We're not worried. Abuelito Kiki is watching over us," explained Maxton. "Gran, me alegra de verlos, niños. Vamos a volar. Me preocupaba que ustedes no vendrían por la tormenta tropical." Bronx se rió. "Eso hace las cosas más emocionantes." "No estamos preocupados. Abuelito Kiki está cuidándonos," explicó Maxton. "Yay, let's do this. ¡Hurrah! Vamos a hacer esto." Off to the beach they went with Mommy and Papi. A la playa se fueron con Mommy y Papi. "Squawk!" Mr. Macaw soared so high. "Grok!" El señor Macaw se elevó tan alto. "Now that I'm 7, I don't need Papi's help," said Maxton. "Abuelito Kiki would be proud," said Mommy. "Ahora que tengo 7 años, no necesito la ayuda de Papi," dijo Maxton. Abuelito Kiki estaría orgulloso, dijo Mami. When Abuelito was a teenager, he was a great lifeguard. He saved several children who'd been swept away by giant waves. The magical kite was given to him by one of the familia, said Papi. Bronx nodded. We love that Mr. Macaw is a part of our familia. Cuando Abuelito era joven, fue un gran salvavidas. Salvó a varios niños que fueron arrastrados por olas gigantes. El papalote mágico fue un regalo de una de las familias, dijo Papi. Bronx asintió. Nos encanta que el señor Macaw es parte de nuestra familia. Mr. Macaw flew down. It's Bronx's turn. Bronx ran down the beach with Mr. Macaw. Then he let go. Can you fly by yourself? Oh no, Maxton said. Let's grab him. Maxton jumped up and caught Mr. Macaw by the string before he could fly away. Bronx said, I was just testing out his super wing power. Mr. Macaw said, squawk. That gives me an idea. El señor Macaw voló hacia abajo. Es el turno de Bronx. Bronx corrió por la playa con el señor Macaw, luego lo dejó ir. ¿Puedes volar solo? Oh, no, Maxton dijo. Vamos a agarrarlo. Maxton saltó y atrapó al señor Macaw por el hilo antes que volara lejos. Lo siento, dijo Bronx. Solo estaba probando sus super alas poderosas. Señor Macaw dijo, crack. Eso me da una idea. Check on the village. A cuidar al pueblo. Where is he going? The winds were getting stronger. Yikes, Bronx said. A tropical storm is coming. Let's bring Mr. Macaw back to us. Los vientos se estaban poniendo más fuertes. Rayos, dijo Bronx. Una tormenta tropical se acerca. Vamos a traer al señor Macaw de vuelta. Suddenly, a gust of wind moved in and took Mr. Macaw away. Squawk! De repente, una refaja llegó y se llevó al señor Macaw lejos. ¡Crack! Mr. Macaw, come back to us, shouted Maxton. Señor Macaw, regresa, gritó Maxton. Squawk! It's okay. Abuelito Kiki told me to always look after the village. I'm off to see if anyone needs help, said Mr. Macaw. Maxton, Bronx, Mommy, and Papi ran after him. He flew over the buildings, and then he disappeared. ¡Trap! Está bien. Abuelito Kiki me dijo que siempre cuidar al pueblo. Voy a ver si alguien necesita ayuda, dijo el señor Macaw. Maxton, Bronx, Mommy y Papi corrieron tras de él. Voló sobre los edificios y luego desapareció. Mr. Macaw might get lost in the storm, Maxton explained to Tomas, the mayor of the village. Boys, you can count on me. I'll find Mr. Macaw. Everyone loves seeing the magical kite fly every summer, said Tomas. I'll text the entire village to keep an eye out for him. El señor Macaw podría perderse en la tormenta, Maxton le explicó a Tomás, el alcalde del pueblo. Chicos, pueden contar conmigo. Encontraré al señor Macaw. A todos nos gusta ver al papalote mágico volar cada verano, dijo Tomás. Voy a enviarle un mensaje a todo el pueblo que estén pendientes. Mr. Macaw flew faster and faster as the storm pushed him higher and higher. Squawk! El señor Macaw voló rápido y más rápido. Según los vientos de la tormenta lo empujaban alto y más alto. ¡Crack! Amigo! Mr. Macaw flew through the rain. He watched a group of girls playing soccer in the street. A paletero pointed at him. Look, that's Mr. Macaw. Tomas said we must help get him back to Maxton and Bronx. He's the family's old kite. Mr. Macaw swooped down to take a bite of the girl's paleta de piña. The child grabbed the kite for a second, but the winds pushed Mr. Macaw back up. Señor Macaw voló atrás de la lluvia. Observó un grupo de niños jugando fútbol en la calle. El paletero apuntó hacia él. Miren, es el señor Macaw. Tomás dijo que debemos ayudarlo a regresar con Maxton y Bronx. Es el viejo papalote de la familia. Señor Macaw bajó a morder la paleta de piña de una niña. La chica agarró el papalote por un segundo, pero el viento empujó al señor Macaw de nuevo. Where is Mr. Macaw off to now? He headed toward the marina to check on everyone. Maria, the captain of a small fishing boat, tried to grab Mr. Macaw's string, but the winds pushed the kite away. Se dirigió hacia la marina para chequear a todos. María, la capitana de un pequeño barco de pesca, intentó agarrar el hilo del señor Macaw, pero los vientos alejaron al papalote. Squawk, squawk. Maria shouted, "It looks like the storm is moving away from the village. We are all safe. Go back home." María gritó, "Parece que la tormenta se aleja del pueblo. Todos estamos a salvos. Vuelve a tu casa." Back at Abuelito's old home, Tomas's phone kept ringing. We saw Mr. Macaw with the girls playing soccer. We saw Mr. Macaw in the village eating paletas. We saw Mr. Macaw near the marina. En la casa vieja de Abuelito, el teléfono de Tomás seguía sonando. Vimos al señor Macaw con las chicas jugando fútbol. Vimos al señor Macaw en el pueblo comiendo paletas. Vimos al señor Macaw cerca de la marina. Bronx pointed at something bright in the sky. "It's Mr. Macaw." The kite swooped down toward Maxton, Bronx, Mommy, and Puppy, but a gust of wind pushed him into a palm tree. Uh-oh. Bronx señaló algo brillante en el cielo. "Es el señor Macaw." El papalote se abalanzó hacia Maxton, Bronx, Mommy y Papi, pero una ráfaga de viento lo empujó hacia una palma. "Mr. Macaw, we're coming for you," Maxton shouted. Tomás climbed up to get the magical kite. "Señor Macaw, vamos por ti," gritó Maxton. Tomás se trepó para agarrar al papalote mágico. Maxton said, "You're all in one piece. All of the people in Abuelito's village are safe from the storm, and they guided you home, Mr. Macaw." "Squawk, I lost a few gold feathers, but it was worth it." Maxton dijo, "Estás en una pieza. Todas las personas del pueblo de Abuelito se salvaron de la tormenta y te dirigieron a casa, señor Macaw." "Croc, perdí unas cuantas plumas de oro, pero valió la pena." He is all tangled up here. By the next day, the tropical storm had passed through. "Mr. Macaw is still bent," said Bronx. The boys untangled and tried to fix his twisted wings. "Abuelito Kiki told us Mr. Macaw would always fly. We should take him to the beach to see," Maxton said. Al día siguiente, la tormenta tropical había pasado. "El señor Macaw todavía estaba doblado," dijo Bronx. Los chicos lo desenredaron y intentaron arreglar sus alas torcidas. "Abuelito Kiki nos dijo que el señor Macaw siempre volaría. Debemos de llevarlo a la playa para ver," dijo Maxton. At first, Mr. Macaw wouldn't take off, and the boys felt discouraged. Suddenly, a gust of wind filled Mr. Macaw's damaged wings. Like magic, the bent wings opened and took Mr. Macaw high into the sky. Al principio, señor Macaw no quería despegar y los chicos se sintieron desanimados. Entonces, una ráfaga de viento llenó las alas dañadas del señor Macaw. Por arte de magia, las alas dobladas se abrieron y llevaron al señor Macaw volando alto en el cielo. "He can do magic," said Bronx. "You can't even tell he flew through a storm. Just like the people in this beautiful village, the spirit of Mr. Macaw will never be broken," said Maxton. "Puede hacer magia," dijo Bronx. "No se nota que voló por una tormenta. Al igual que la gente en este hermoso pueblo, el espíritu del señor Macaw nunca se romperá," dijo Maxton. "You did it! ¡Lo hiciste! ¡Bravo, Mr. Macaw!" Squawk, I can fly. Quack, puedo volar. Just not in another storm, pero no en otra tormenta. The end. And that is the story of Mr. Macaw. And on the back, I have a special message for boys and girls everywhere. It says, may your life be filled with adventure, que tu vida esté llena de aventura.
With Carylee.
Yes, I definitely loved it. And I see I'm actually wearing some of the colors that Mr. McCall has. So I'm feeling very special right now. And, you know, that was truly an adventure and a wonderful book. I am not bilingual, so you know this is definitely a book that can help to teach others, well, teach children Spanish, as well as helping those who are learning English. So this is definitely an amazing book. So thank you for writing that. So how important was it for you to write this book in both Spanish and English?
Well, it was so important. I am teaching my own children Spanish, and it's a struggle every day to raise bilingual children. It's hard if you're not exposed to it every day. So I thought, what a beautiful thing to write a book in both languages for children to be able to either learn Spanish or strengthen their English, and for families to be able to compare both languages, and for parents to have a growth mindset with their children, and for everyone to learn along the way. It's also so important for children to be proud to speak another language. A lot of families speak Spanish at home, but when children go out into the community, if their friends don't understand it, sometimes it makes kids shy to speak their native language. So I thought, what a beautiful thing to make everyone embrace the culture, embrace the language, and see that it's a gift to speak a second language.
Yes, absolutely. And well, did you have any trouble finding bilingual books when you were growing up, or even for your children now?
I sure did. It's always been a struggle to find a quality bilingual book. Usually, if you find a Spanish book, it's one that was originally written in English and then later it's translated. So it's really not cultural, right? It's just a book that happens to be translated so people can read it in Spanish. So there are very few bilingual books out there that is actually a big story. If you find the little baby books, sometimes they have a couple of words that you can learn, flower, flor. But I wanted children to be exposed to an entire story, and I wanted Latinx children to see themselves as characters in a book so they can be proud of their culture.
Yes, and that is definitely an important thing that we try to stress here at Read with Carylee, so that, you know, we will be able to have children see themselves in the books that we have on this show, and which is why it's so awesome for you to join us. Now, just a little bit more about you. You are actually a reporter in California, correct?
Yes, I'm a reporter anchor in Sacramento, California, and I'm going on 17 years working at the same station that I grew up watching. Yes, so that's actually the topic of my next book coming out in November. And that's called That Girl on TV Could Be Me, The Journey of a Latina News Anchor. And I tell the story of a little girl who was watching the news since she was 5 years old and didn't see a lot of people that looked like me on TV. And I remember telling my mom, how do I become that girl on TV? And just the inspiration and hard work of my parents, who were immigrants, that told me that I could achieve whatever I wanted, but I had to study hard and go to college. So this is an autobiography for children. It comes out in November, and I share my story of climbing to the top of the ladder. And I want all children, whether or not they want to be on TV, to dream big. Just because you don't see yourself or see anyone that looks like you in a certain position, to know that you can pave the way for others, because it's an opportunity for you to mentor others and to lead a path to success for more people of color.
Absolutely. And I applaud you for doing that and writing that book as well. So is that another bilingual book?
Yes, it is a bilingual book. I'm so excited to have it in English and Spanish. And that is my mission for all my books, to be bilingual, because a lot of people will be able to read it in both languages. And if you don't know Spanish, you could still read it in English and vice versa. I just think it's so important for a growth mindset to have both options for children.
Yes. Well, thank you. You truly are a trailblazer in the news and in being an author and writing bilingual books. And this is such a treat for us to have you here, especially this week and especially this month. And before we go, were there any books that inspired you while you were growing up? And did those books happen to be in Spanish or in English?
Well, there weren't too many Spanish books growing up just because there aren't a lot out there. So one of my
Okay.
favorite books growing up, and a book that I've read my children over and over again, are Where the Wild Things Are.
Yes.
So one of my favorites. It's been around for decades, and my children enjoy the book because it's all about having an imagination. This little boy, Max, who doesn't want to have dinner and then gets casted away and goes to the magic land where he is the ruler of all the monsters. And then he gets to see that the grass isn't greener on the other side. He misses his family and wants to come back home. But boy, did he have an adventure. And I just think like it helps children's imaginations run wild. And I love these kinds of books because adventure is what our children need right now.
Yes,
There's
absolutely. Absolutely. And that is an adventure book, and that is a classic. And I do hope that Mr. Macaw and your other books become classics as well, because this is definitely something that is transcending and so important for our children to be able to see themselves in books and to be able to learn different languages and even strengthen their native tongue, or the tongue that's spoken at home, and even with family and friends. And I thank you for being our first Latina on Read with Carylee, and for bringing this book to us and sharing it with all of our audience members. So thank you again, Miss Leticia Ordaz, for joining us.
Thank you. I do want to say thank you to all of my supporters. And just 2 weeks ago, I was awarded 4 International Latino Awards for Mr. Macaw.
Oh.
It's the largest Latino award show in the world. And so Edward James almost held a big ceremony in Los Angeles, and Mr. Macaw was the winner of 4 awards. And it's a very proud moment. And I hope that this inspires other Latinos to become writers, because there's only 5% of us currently published in the US. So we definitely have a lot of creative minds out there. And I hope that my successes with Mr. Macaw will inspire people to write their story on paper and eventually get their book published as well.
Well, congratulations to you and the adventures of Mr. Macaw, and may you go on to do more amazing things and write more amazing books. And thank you again for joining us. Thank you to all of our friends for joining us for another Read with Carylee. You see that we have amazing authors here doing amazing things. So be sure to join us each week for another amazing author here at Read with Carylee. And as we say, grab a book and read. Have a great day.
Thanks for watching another amazing episode of the Read with Carylee Show. We have amazing authors coming by every week. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe below. You don't want to miss a thing.